My name is Greg Christian, and I own Beyond Green Partners, and we're going to talk to you today about the cafeteria food. This video is for principals who are concerned with the quality of food in their cafeteria. Are you frustrated with the quality of food? Are you worried that kids aren't eating enough because the quality of the food is so poor? Are you struggling with activist moms that now these days are not going away? Do you see all the waste in the cafeteria and you're not sure what to do about that? And are you worried that it's going to cost a lot of money to do farm-to-table food? Have you asked your staff or the food service company to make changes and they haven't really done what you've asked them? If any of this is true, this video is for you. In trying to figure out what the changes could be or should be in the cafeteria, you have to start with an assessment. Where are we starting today? Without an assessment, we're doing what I call dart throwing. Let's try to do more real food. Let's try to eliminate bottled water. Let's start composting. And a lot of these dart throws don't pick up steam and turn into real change. The main things that we want to look at in assessing a cafeteria is we always start with the sanitation level of the cafeteria. How clean is it? Sanitation. The next thing that I like to do is figure out, through looking at the receipts, the ratio of fresh to processed food. So I'll write down ratio of fresh to processed food. If you're buying all processed food, it's going to be hard to improve the quality of food. The third thing we like to look at is sales. What's selling in the cafeteria? And when we look at sales, we often discover that we're selling a lot of sugary drinks, French fries, pizza, burgers, and fries. And we might want to try to change that. Another thing we want to look at is the skill set in the kitchen. So cooking, I'll call that cooking chops, if you'll let me date myself. So what are the cooking chops in the kitchen? Can they cook? What's their training? Mostly in cafeterias today, we have people opening boxes and cans and mixing that with powder. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's been working, and it's hard to improve food with people with those skills. We want to first start with sanitation. I'm inviting you to walk into the cafeteria and walk around the kitchen and look under the equipment and look in the refrigerators and the cooler and the freezer and see how clean it is, and see if the food is labeled with the correct date on it or with a date on it at all. If it's a super clean kitchen, super duper clean, chances are there's not a lot of cooking happening in that kitchen. And that's fine and great that it's clean. It has to be clean. But we want cooking to happen in the kitchen. And when you're really cooking food, there's the equipment's a little beat up. The ovens have a couple stains on the inside usually. And the other side of the coin is if it's super dirty. If it's super dirty, chances are the cooks don't care. And if the cooks don't care, it's going to be hard to bring change to your current team. So go down to the kitchen, walk around, take some notes, and see for yourself how clean or dirty it is. So one of the important things with sanitation is, are they taking temperatures of the food and of the coolers every day? So this is an example of a sanitation log, and what you look for here, are they writing the exact same temperature down every day? If they're writing the exact same temperature down, they're not really checking the temperature of the cooler. And so it's really important that coolers are the right temperature. Another thing that's really important to me in sanitation are the hand sinks, is there soap and towels at the hand sink? And the other thing is, are you seeing people wash their hands? A lot of cooks put gloves on and then wipe themselves of having to wash their hands. So we want to see hand washing constantly in the kitchen. So when you stand in the kitchen for 5 minutes and you see nobody wash their hands, that's a problem. Here's a slicer that we've been using all day. And an easy check for sanitation in the kitchen is to check the slicer, because these get dirty. The first question is, do you have a slicer? If you don't have a slicer, you're buying all your meat already sliced. The second question, if you have a slicer, are you using it? And third, is it clean? And what do you use it for? Back 15, 20 years ago, we used the slicer all day in a school. So are you using it all day or hardly using it? Is it clean? The second thing that you want to look at is you want to look at the receipts that are coming into your kitchen from food and dry goods bought. Whether you're serving your own food, your staff works for you, or you have a food service company, they will share the records from the Cisco's of the world, from the big broadline distributors. What are they buying on a monthly basis? And then I want you to take a look at that and see if you understand what any of it is. And sit with the head of food service and say, what is this? What is that? It won't take long. You don't have to go through every item. And you can get a sense of what's already processed food from manufacturers and what's fresh. So what is the ratio? One more step you can take it is, what is the ratio of fresh to processed produce, for example, or fresh to processed food in general? What I find is over 85% of the food bought in most schools in America is processed food. So some parents push back and say, I don't want you to tell me what I should feed my kids, or I don't want you to, if my kid wants a hamburger or a hot dog, that's okay. But the food manufacturers are already dictating what kids should eat in the cafeteria. So to get a sense of what's currently happening in this arena will help you see how far you have to get to be making real food. And chances are they might already be cooking real food and they're buying lots of fruit and vegetables. And then you just want to improve that. So you have to look at the receipts to know exactly what's coming into your cafeteria. So we keep our receipts on the wall, and then once a week we log them in the computer. So on this receipt, you'll see, raw turkey sold by the pound. You'll see Kilgis whole milk, which is a farmstead dairy in Illinois. You'll see grass-fed ground beef, 5-pound package, comes in fresh, not frozen. Here's some organic flour. So when you start to see flour, you know they're baking. That's a good sign. This is some food from a bakery that we buy that comes in fresh, not frozen, and it comes in the day we need it or the day before. So it's pretty easy to look through the receipts and get a real sense of real food, processed food. And then you have to look at sales. What are they spending their money on? And this, again, I would look at a month at a time. Your own POS system, if you make your own food, has this information, or the food service provider has this information. And what you want to look at, you want to compare full plate sales for the whole entree compared to the purchases of French fries, sugary drinks, pizza, cookies, chips, and what is that ratio? Historically, what I find out there in the schools in America is that students are spending half their money on this, what I call junk food, and half their money on the entree. Now, the entree might be made with processed food, but even if that's the case, we would rather have them spending more than half their money on the entree related to chips, cookies, brownies, fries. And the cooking chops, how much cooking skill does the kitchen have? The reason this is important is if you want to make change, you might not have the right vendor or staff if it's self-operating. And this is always a tough decision for the head of school because the people that work in the cafeteria become part of the community. But if they don't know how to cook, you can't expect them to make different food. You can't expect them to buy from farmers. They won't know what to do with that food. You can't expect much better than you're getting. So are they box openers and can openers? And the simple way to assess this is just asking them questions. Where did you cook before here? Or how long have you been here? And the people that have been there a while, you can ask them, did you used to cook more? And chances are they're going to say yes. And then you can ask them, would you like to cook again more than opening boxes and cans, and see what they say? Because what I'm trying to get to here is actually, are they willing to change? Are they coachable? If they used to cook and don't want to cook, they're not willing to change. Is here we are peeling our own garlic. And so, is there garlic in your kitchen? Garlic brings flavor. Everybody likes garlic. Are they peeling their own garlic? Or are they buying jarred garlic, which tastes totally nasty and is a major shortcut? And it's a shortcut that leads to less flavor in food. Another real food is, do you have anyone in your kitchen like cutting up meat? So is meat coming into your kitchen raw and whole that needs to be butchered? So in this kitchen, we bring in meat fresh, never frozen, and it has to be butchered. Now, some of your school districts are big, and you might not be able to butcher all your meat, but if you're not cutting any meat, then you're buying meat already probably cooked. And when you buy cooked meat, it's hard to make that cooked meat taste good. It's easier to make raw meat when you have to cook it taste good. This is a station where we're making pizza from scratch. Again, if you're in a school district that's large, it might be hard to make pizza from scratch, but they can try. And so this is what it looks like. There's a little olive oil, there's a little flour, there's a brush, there's a station, there's a scale, there's something to cut the dough with. And that's the kind of thing you want to look for in your kitchen, see if it's there or not. On the waste side, you might not see this in your kitchen. We separate waste in 8 different areas. And here, this is some of them. This is for paper, so we can recycle and compost. And really, so we can divert all the waste. This is a zero waste kitchen, and I ask you, if you're not zero waste, how much waste do you want? So we want to be zero waste because we know when waste goes to a dump, it's really somebody else's backyard. So here is paper, plastic, glass, aluminum, and then over in front of the guys here is compost that looks like this, and more plastic that they end up putting in there. And you see no big garbage cans in this kitchen because we recycle and compost everything.